So what's up, guys? I'm back with another return video. Yeah. So guys, I know y'all want to know why I've been gone for a month. And I know some of y'all unsubscribed because I didn't do the Mozino Kai. Cause them videos was like mostly, them videos is mostly about my channel, but it wasn't the reason why my channel was about the live stream, like a funny. But until I start talking with JST TV, I'm like, yo, I like how you made your own episodes and I'm like, maybe I can make my own. And he was like, you should. So I just should. So guys, I got something. I don't know how to say this, but the reason why I've been gone is my phone was off for a whole freaking month until I got my new phone. I'm using my old phone, the Samsung, with all the Xenokai episodes and stuff on it. And the guys, I know I forgot episode 7 of Xenokai in the playlist. I'm gonna also put that in here. But this is my new phone. Actually, I got two phones. I got an LG. I got an LG Astro. Yeah, Steph Curry on that boy. Steph Curry with the shot. And hold up. Guys, and I got Super Saiyan 2 Teenage Gohan, which is the best Gohan. Yeah, and guys, I got creative of destruction. If y'all want to play me, just let me know. I'm gonna put my username on it. DBX2TV. No spaces. Hold up. Wait, is it no spaces? Oh yeah, it's a space. TV is a space. Oh, my bad. Tapping too hard. But yeah, that's why I've been going. But I'm finna show you my other phone. It's like a new brand phone called the CorePad. I thought it was like a new tablet. I'm like, what the heck? My mama told me so. She told me some Taiwan. I got a new phone for you right here. I got two of it, LG Astro, and I got a CorePad. I'm like, that's a tablet. She's like, no, it ain't. I'm like, what the heck? But my phone that I'm recording on right now, it is off, but I'm using the Wi-Fi off of my CorePad phone. Called CorePad. You see it? CorePad. Some bread phone. And guys, my nephew dad died. He got shot in the back of his head. Then they had poured gasoline on him and burnt him. I feel so bad for my nephew, bro. And my sister, she was crying on the phone. My nephew only saw his dad until he was 2. And Jeremiah, I know you want to know where Trey at. Trey is with my dad. My dad not here. My grandma went to the store and stuff. So, yeah. But, yeah, I feel bad for my nephew. He be like, Dad. I'm like, Dad ain't in this world no more. He's not in this world. Bro, if I'm about to cry, bro, I'm crying. Hold up, guys, hold up. I'm freaking crying, bro. Okay, so guys, I'm done crying. Yeah, I'm done crying. But yeah, like I said, this is not just gonna be one separate video. I'm also do the truck driving and same one. So yeah, Alex coming over this weekend. So yeah. So like when I was saying on December the 27th. December the 27th. And Thanksgiving, I'll be making a Thanksgiving video because Thanksgiving gonna be in my house. All my family coming. Alex, Amber. Y'all remember Amber? Yeah, Amber coming. Who else coming? Alex coming. Jacob, Hacking Gamer, he's coming. Psych, no. I mean, I could ask his mom though, but I don't know. She would no, because that don't sound right. So Alex and my cousin they all they come so, but December the 27th, I'm getting a new Wi-Fi box, and I'm getting on Christmas. I'm getting all the DLC packs from Dragon Ball Z. Then on December the 27th, the same day, I'll make a channel called All About That Business. It's all about that business. And it's gonna be on my tablet channel. It's gonna be Vol. No gaming. It's just gonna be Vol. On this tablet. Cause I'm gonna have Wi-Fi. Then I'm gonna connect my Xbox One to my tablet. And hold up. This controller to my tablet by Bluetooth. Then I'm play Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Then I'm play the DLC missions and all that. But then I'm gonna do the dual screen recorder on my tablet because I got it too. So let's go about this video. Let's quit the talking. Let's go. Guys, I can't do a video with all my hot chocolate, man. And marshmallow. No, I can't do no video out this, boy. No, I can't.
I was 17 in my last year of high school. There was a weekend towards the end of the school year where my parents were going away. I saw it as a perfect opportunity to throw an end-of-the-year party.
That's stupid.
I went to the store and bought 3 big bags of red Solo.
But hold up, he's gonna be like hot. You know they're gonna be doing that. Then he's gonna be hot. He ain't gonna know who in his house. He gonna think that's his friend. So I'm just saying, I think that's gonna be a part of the building. I think this gonna be a part of the story, but let's just see. I think it.
Bag of ping pong balls, and I paid my older brother, who was 21, to pick up a bunch of beers and liquor.
See, I told you
The good thing about my house was that it was in a cul-de-sac, and it had a plot of land dedicated to water collection right behind the backyard. So the chances of a noise complaint were
now
slim.
there's hot chocolate though.
My older brother invited like 10 friends of his own. People started showing up around 9. I basically made it open invite to most people in my grade. By the peak of the night, there were probably 60 to 70 kids in my house. It was more insane than I thought it would be. It got to a point where I started seeing kids I didn't know coming into my house. At that point...
Oh my freaking God, bro. Just like that one story. Like my last, last time when I, not quit, like my last video that month, it was a reaction video. I forgot what that video was called. And that mentally ill boy was following that girl on the school bus. Following Mr. Nightmare's school bus. Then he got in her window and got her bedroom. Cracked me in my room. It was like story 2. Yeah, story 2. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and that's when I forgot his name though. So, but it's like you don't know him, but like, what the heck? Like, it's like you was dumb. Like, is something wrong with your? Oh my, something. Like, what the heck? Oh my gosh.
I had to put my foot down and start locking the door to avoid randoms from coming in. Every time people would leave, I'd lock the door again. Later in the night, when there were about 20 kids left in my house, my good friend Peter asked me about the guy who went to the upstairs of my house. I questioned what he was talking about, and he told me there was some random guy walking up my stairs about a minute ago. I intended on leaving the upstairs off limits, as the only rooms up there are bedrooms. I ran upstairs and checked all of the bedrooms, which all had the lights off. I checked my bedroom last, which appeared to be empty too. I went back to tell Peter. He said with 100% certainty that someone was still up there. So this time he came up with me to check all of the rooms again. under all the beds and all the closets, but whoever this kid was that Peter saw didn't turn up, so we went back downstairs. I figured Peter was drinking too much and just had no credibility that night. He was one of the few people who I'd be letting crash at my house that night. In fact, Peter crashed on the couch before everyone even left. It was probably 2 in the morning by the time the last of my friends left. My brother was already asleep in his room upstairs, while Peter and my other friend John slept on the couches downstairs. I went upstairs to the bathroom, exhausted but feeling satisfied with the party. As I brushed my teeth and looked at myself in the mirror, through a slight blur from drinking so much, I thought I heard something above me. I turned off my electric toothbrush and listened for the longest time, but there was nothing now. I rinsed up and went to my room, but before I could even crash into bed, I heard another sound from above me, a thump in the ceiling. I went to my brother's bedroom door, but no matter how much I knocked, he wouldn't open his door. I suddenly had the thought to check the attic. For some reason, it took me that long. I got the hook to pull down the stairs to the attic. I'd never actually been in that attic before.
This is what I one time.
After climbing up the stairs into the darkness.
Guys, you remember that one time? That time, me, Alex, and I was over at Alex's house. We did that. Hiking, 3 disturbing hiking horror stories. Me and Alex, and that's when it had music in it. You wanna know why we didn't do number 3? We heard something in the attic. You wanna know? But we stopped by on story number 2. So that's with the clown and stuff. He was about to kill him. That's when I said we're gonna be sitting on that bench for like, dang! Yep, I know. That one. Dang, my teeth shiny. Yep. And guys, I'm growing my hair back. It's up here now. At first it was like that. Now it's up. I ain't getting high top fade no more. I'm getting a taper fade in the front, in the sides, and the back. So I'm just gonna let it grow. So like, continue. Like, you wanna know why we didn't do story number 3? Because we heard something in the attic. And it was his mom, but then it was his mom, and his mom was like, it was me. And that's when we were like, oh. And that's when I came back down. I came back down the basement where he was at, and got the phone, and got my flashlight, turned the flashlight on it, and went upstairs. Then we went in the attic. We saw something in the bag, but I mean, it looked like the bag was moving. We went back. That's why we didn't do the story number 3, but I will, because Alex coming, so it's going to be late. Oh yeah, and Silver Shame 3, dang it, I forgot about that Snapchat horror story you won't. Dang it, I forgot. But do you still want it? Do you still want that horror story or no? Alright, let's continue with the video.
I felt around above the floor of the attic and searched for some kind of light switch. My hand knocked into a string, so I pulled it down, and a single dim light flickered on. The center of the attic, where the door was lit nicely by this light, but the outer walls of the attic were all dark. But even in the darkness, I could sense another presence in there. I asked, is anybody in here? And I felt a rush when I saw a box
Xenokai episode 8 is today too.
pushed to the corner fall over. Behind it, someone crouched running behind another stack of boxes.
Heck no!
It didn't look like a kid. It looked like an adult man. And at the same time, I could hear a plastic bag being brushed up against in another corner of the attic behind me. I jumped off the stairs and slammed the attic door shut. I ran down to my 2 friends to tell them what happened. It took a bit of waking them up for them to fully comprehend what I was screaming at them. Peter told me to call the cops right away, and I did. I guess I needed that second opinion of what to do before actually calling the police. I went back upstairs with my 2 friends to pound on my brother's door, but he still wouldn't answer. I started to worry that something might have happened to him. Cop sirens blared outside, so the 3 of us ran downstairs in relief. An officer and his partner came in and asked where the attic was. I led them to the attic door and opened it for them. They did their thing. They went up with lights in one hand and guns drawn in the other. We were told to wait down in the living room. Not even 2 minutes later, the cops came out of the attic with two men who looked to be in their 30s or 40s. They were disgusting and dangerous looking. Likely homeless and probably crazy as well. They gave us looks as they walked past us. My brother came out of his room soon after to throw up. And when I explained everything to him, he said he slept right through our knocks and bangs on the door. Thankfully, since my brother was 21, he served as the adult in the situation and talked with the police. Because of that, we were able to keep the incident a secret from our parents.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Guys, I'm watching the NFL.
It's becoming a little bit of a
the
problem.
Vikings. I don't like football at all.
That you aren't using.
Dang it, son.
I used to go to the University of Idaho before transferring. My sophomore year, I went to a lot of frat parties. There was one frat party that changed the way I look at college parties, however. I'm gonna leave the name of the frat out of this story, but one of the smaller frats on our campus was having an open party. Free for girls and a $20 charge at the door for guys, so we all had to pay the cover charge. When we got inside, there were definitely a lot of people, but the party overall seemed kind of grimy and sketchy. There were a lot more guys than girls, and it was insanely hot in the house. There seemed to be a couple guys going to a back room, so I figured I'd check it out to see if anything was going on back there. After going through a door to a much quieter section of the house, I saw the same couple of guys go outside. I figured I'd go outside and check out what the party was looking like in the backyard section. Back door and peered outside. I saw the two guys standing around a fire pit. There was no one else in the backyard. They looked over to me after hearing the door open, I guess. Before I could turn and go back inside, they waved me over. I felt awkward. I probably should have ignored them and just went back inside.
You should have
I felt pressured into walking over to them. They told me to sit down on one of the logs placed around the fire pit. I did so. Then they sat down on two logs and started to light up cigarettes. The two of them sat there not saying a word, just smoking their cigarettes and looking in my general direction. They didn't say anything or even offer me a cigarette. I figured I'd try to start conversation since they called me over and asked them if they were in the frat. One of them shook their head no, and that was it. I then asked if they knew anybody at this party. This time I didn't even get an acknowledgement of my question. The two just looked at each other and then they looked at me. Now that they were looking at me, they wouldn't look away, and I was becoming increasingly uneasy. One of the two said in a very monotone, slow voice, "That's a nice watch." I looked at the cheap $30 Timex watch on my wrist. It was not a nice watch at all, but maybe to him it looked like one. That same guy got up, and as he started walking over to me, said, "Give me your watch." The other guy got up and started to walk behind me, as if they were surrounding me. I took off my watch in a hurry, saying, "Yeah, sure, no problem." When I got it off, I stood up and handed it to him, but my standing up was just a move to better prepare myself for sprinting to the door of the house. I heard a flick and a swish come from behind me. I associated it to be the sound of a knife being flicked open. The guy behind me said, "Take off your shirt," and that's when I decided it was time to sprint for the door. It took me about 3 seconds to get to the door. I don't know how far they followed me for, or if they even did. But I got back in the house, went back to the front section where the party was, and found my two friends. I told them we had to go and to ask questions later. People were looking at me as I guess I made a scene telling my friends to go. They finally listened and we left the house through the front. Campus was half a mile from that house, so we walked it. On our way back though, at one point I turned around and saw two people walking towards us. I stopped to keep looking. The two people stepped under a street light. It was those two men from the backyard. I told my friends to run and they listened. We ran all the way back to campus and back to our dorms. I told the president of that particular frat about what happened. He promised me they were not associated with those two individuals. Still, I didn't go to any other parties hosted by that frat, and I did take it easy on the partying for a while after that.
That's really...
What's wrong with
Oh,
you?
this is funny.
Hey, Shawty, what's wrong with you? I said nothing.
You're so funny.
I just think it's funny. We've been talking for so long.
Story number 3, bitch. We gotta edit that out.
I used to use the app Tinder a lot, mostly for weekends where I'd have nothing to do and I'd hope to meet up with someone new. One Friday night, my friends Steve, Raj, and I were chilling in my room, bored. I matched someone on Tinder, and she seemed pretty cool based on her pictures and bio. She messaged me first, saying there was a party and to pull up. I asked her for the details, like what town, what time, what address. She sent the address of a house in a town not far at all. I copied
That's a man trying to kidnap you.
10 minutes away.
Ain't no
I
woman.
asked for her number to text her, and she gave it promptly. We texted for a bit, and it ended off with my telling her we're on our way. My friends were on board with it, so I figured why not? It was better than sitting in my room. I got dressed into jeans and a button-up shirt. My friends just had to go dressed as they were. We called an Uber to drive us up to the house. When we pulled up to the house, it was definitely on the smaller side. Most of the houses there were on the smaller side. So immediately we're thinking ghetto party. I texted the girl. She said to come in. We started to hear the music blasting inside as we approached the stoop, so that was reassuring. The Uber drove off into the night as we got to the stoop. The girl said to just come in. I opened the door and let ourselves in. We were greeted with the living room, and every adjacent room in the house seemed to be lit up. The music seemed to be coming from another room, but even so, the living room was empty. There was no one in sight, except for a lone, 20-something-year-old punky-looking guy sitting in a chair in the kitchen. I texted the girl again, saying we're inside. She said, come downstairs. I asked, where is downstairs? She said the door right in front of the front door. My friends were laughing, saying this is insanely suspicious and that maybe we should go. I opened the door, though, sure enough, right in front of me, and it did indeed lead to a basement. There was a blue light that seemed to fill the whole room down there. The music was coming from down there for sure. I walked down each step slowly. Raj followed me, but Steve was for some reason staying at the top step. He called down, let me know what's down there. It was hard to hear anything because the music was literally so loud. I got far enough down the staircase where I could start to see into the basement. Instead of seeing a room packed with people dancing, I saw a line of men leaning against a wall, looking right up at me. Some of them were wearing do-rags, one was wearing a backwards cap. Most of them were some kind of minorities. They were leaning against the furthest wall from the stairs, in kind of a blind spot, and all I could think was that it was some kind of trap. Then, I heard a commotion come from up the stairs, and I saw Steve having some kind of confrontation with the guy who was sitting in the kitchen. I pushed at Raj to hurry the fuck up those stairs, and when we got to Steve, that man was trying to hold us back. He then started screaming something in Spanish down the stairs, and I witnessed 4 or 5 men running to the stairs from the basement. It was the most horrific moment of my life. We easily overpowered the lone guy holding us back and pushed our way out of the house, all with maybe 2 seconds to spare. We were all in decent shape, thankfully, and we ran as fast and as far away from the house as we could. We had to catch our breath after running full speed for a few minutes. I was the one to call the cops and tell them to check that house immediately. From there, we took an Uber back to my house and spent the rest of the night there. I didn't ever find out what the cops did when they checked the house out. I didn't really think that far ahead when I made that phone call. All I know now is if something seems suspicious on the internet, stay away from it. You never know who you're actually meeting or what you're walking into.
But then you make some tender horror stories and you still at it. And you said, let's not meet. Speaking of let's not meet, on that tablet, when I make all about that business, I'm making one reaction video that's gonna be being scared. No, you know that scary storyteller being scared. He made the most, and Mr. Creepypasta. I'm gonna do that with Alex, or Mr. Creepypasta. I'm gonna do that with Alex. But being scared, I might do that with Alex or by myself. Or with Amber. Because on Thanksgiving, I might do that on Thanksgiving, yeah. Boom! But not on tablet, on this. Yeah, so. How many minutes is this? How many minutes is this video? Dang! 20! Dang, I've been talking too much. Alright, let's see you on the truck driving story. Peace. Let's go. That looks like a wolf. Oh, sorry, Ted.
I've been a trucker for varying companies for 10 years. 3 years ago, I was working for a warehouse company in Kansas doing shipments. I usually drove a semi, which is what I was behind the wheel of on February 2nd. It was a cold Monday, so the week was just starting and a lot of loads needed to be shipped, so I was trying to bang it all out quickly. I started driving at 3 p.m. and intended on getting to the destination that same night. I didn't want to have to pull off on the side of the road somewhere to sleep. I did.
Hold on, guys, I'm about to make me some noodles.
After 12, which is fast for a semi.
Hold up, guys, I'm about to make me
Starting
some
to feel very
noodles.
tired.
Chicken flavor.
The destination was less than an hour.
Okay, guys, my noodles getting ready. I got my fork and I got my pack, my season pack. Dang it! I'm getting sick and tired of that phone. Alright, let's go.
My eyes were getting dry, and I was starting to become sore just to keep them wide open. I splashed some water on my hand and then rubbed it on my face. It helped a little bit in waking me up. My truck was the only vehicle on this road at this hour, so besides my headlights, the road was completely dark. I remember reaching to take a sip of my water and almost spitting it out when I saw a figure approaching fast up in the distance. I hit the brakes hard, and as the truck slowed down close to a halt, I could better distinguish the features of this person almost standing in the middle of the road. He seemed to be wearing all black with some kind of black scarf wrapped around his neck, and he had an unnaturally long neck. I know it's a weird thing to pick up on, but it was almost freaky looking. His face itself, however, was a complete blur. I couldn't make out any features. As my truck slowed down and got closer to this mysterious man, I was about to roll down the window to ask if he needed a ride, but he just turned to his left and darted into the woods. I didn't take an extra second to stop and think about it. I just pressed on the gas pedal again and moved on. Regardless of how freaky it was, I was in a rush. In fact, it wasn't even until about 20 seconds after that my heart really started racing from taking in how strange it really was. Maybe 5 minutes later, I was able to get over it. But just like that, something else happened. As I was back to my cruising speed, I saw something run across the street in front of me. At first, it looked like a big animal, but as I got closer and it crossed into the woods, I realized it looked like another person. I didn't even tap on the brakes this time, I just kept going. I kept zooming down the road, maybe even stepping on the gas a little more just because I was starting to get freaked out and wanted to get there faster. Another few minutes went by with nothing happening. However, I was getting increasingly tired, and at times I was even swerving into the other lane a little bit. 40 minutes or so left in the drive, and I didn't know if I could make it anymore. I started looking around for good places to pull over and park for the night. There was eventually a little opening on the side of the road made of gravel. I guess it was meant to be just a little parking rest stop kind of thing. I pulled the semi into it, parked it, and leaned back and rested my eyes. I fell asleep for not even an hour, just to wake up out of nowhere to the darkness. I still don't know what woke me up, but as I looked outside through the windshield, something in my gut was telling me to turn on the headlights, and so I flicked the knob, and lights lit up the surrounding area in front of my truck. There was something in front of the truck, though. A man. That same man with the black scarf I'd seen earlier standing on the side of the road. Now I could see his face much clearer. He had a very wide smile, and his eyes were open as wide as possible, and he looked right at me through the windshield. I turned the truck on and pulled it out of that little clearing as fast as possible. I didn't know what to think. How could he have walked 10 miles from where I'd seen him last? I didn't stop again that night until I made it to my destination. From there, I fell asleep in the parking lot and woke up early the next morning. Now, the only logical explanation I could think of is that my mind was playing tricks on me, because I had been seeing strange things all night. I've never heard of a hallucination being so vivid and terrifying, though, and that's the part that still really confuses and scares me. confuses and on me because I had been seeing strange things all night. I've never heard of a hallucination being so vivid and terrifying, though, and that's the part that still really confuses and scares me.
He got a new sound effects. I see you with the nightmare. Scary still. What?
Before getting an office job in the city, I was a UPS driver for 2 years.
Well, bro,
It was good money and I enjoyed it for the most part. It had its moments, though. It was 2010. I'd been out of college for 2 years. I was working 11 to 7 on a Thursday. It was the dead of winter, so it was dark by like 5 o'clock. I wasn't exactly living in Palm Springs either. I was living in a small town in North Carolina. I don't want to call it ghetto or slummy, but it wasn't a very nice area at all. I did deliveries in that same town very often. The housing situation in this town was weird. Some blocks would have rows of houses and trailer homes spaced far away.
That was the same spot that last reaction video I did. That last video I made. The last video, last month. That video. This for that mentally ill kid was following this nightmare on that school bus. Right there. This where they showed it.
From each other, while other blocks were just completely desolate. This made for less deliveries altogether because the houses were so spaced out and far from each other that it took longer than, say, a regular suburban or urban community. Deliveries were always marked on the map so that I could take a more strategic route instead of just driving all over the place. After hours and hours of deliveries, all over a span of at least 3 different small towns, I started heading down one of those streets I'd mentioned just now. Spaced out trailer homes and small houses on one side, forest on the other side. It's a little past 6 p.m. and my shift is winding down with not too many deliveries left. There was one house on this block, and the package was to be signed for, meaning I couldn't just leave it on the stoop. I pulled up in front of the house, went to the back of the truck, and pulled out one of the biggest and heaviest boxes of the day. There was some kind of small metal pieces bumping around in the box, lots of them. I couldn't even try to take a guess at what could be inside. My job was just to lug the thing to the front door of the trailer home, and that's just what I did. There was no doorbell in this home, so I had to knock. There were no lights on in there, though, and I didn't see a car out front, so I was hoping somebody was home. I knocked a few more times, then I saw the curtains to one of the windows move, and footsteps come to the door. Then there was a long pause, a suspicious and unnecessarily long pause before the door finally cracked open. Some older woman poked her head out all paranoid-like, and when I said she had a package to sign, she opened the door fully. She seemed fidgety as I asked her to sign the device. She did so. It was a sloppy signature, too. She told me I'd need to help her carry the box into her room. I figured that would be the case.
Hello, guys.
The moment I stepped into the trailer home,
okay, guys, I'm ready. Got my noodles, chicken flavor.
Had a stench. You know how every home has a distinct smell, whether it be good or bad. Well, this home smelled awful. I don't know what it was. She was leading me to a back section behind the tiny living room space. She took me to a narrow hallway where I struggled to carry the box, and then brought me to a door. She opened the door and told me to maneuver the box into the closet in the back of the room. I asked her to flick on the light. She said the light didn't work. It was next to pitch black in there, with the only source of light being the lamp from the living room seeping down the hall into this room. I could see just the slightest amount to navigate the box inside of the room. As I got close to the closet, I saw someone standing in the corner of the closet. I knew for certain it was a person because of the shape of the outline, and there was movement. There was no logical explanation to this. This person was clearly hiding from me, waiting. I left the box where it was and walked past the woman and said, "Have a nice day." She started to scream at me to come back and help her, then she went as far as to call me a piece of shit. I didn't know what this woman and whoever was in that closet were planning on doing, and I didn't want to stick around to find out. I went on with my shift and went home that night, and thus began my job hunt for a newer, better job.
How many stories is this? Like 3?
been a truck driver since I was 25, and I've done a lot of night drives and of course had my fair share of odd experiences. I did deliveries for a number of different types of companies. Often I'd have to drive across state to make shipments to the receiving companies or stores. One day I had to drive literally from one side of California to the other to deliver a trailer full of wooden furniture items. Much of the drive was through open desert roads. It was going to be many hours, and I already had a late start to the day, so I knew a majority of my drive would be in the dark. Given the nature of these desert roads at night, how straight they are and how little traffic there is, it meant I could push the truck a little faster than I would on other roads. This meant that when I saw the flashing rear lights of a car in the horizon, I had to hit the brakes a little extra hard to bring the truck to a stop when I finally pulled up behind the car. It was an old Chevy Impala parked on the side of the road in the desert dirt. It had its hazards on. I got out of my truck because of course I had to be a good Samaritan and check if they needed help.
No, why
Walked
would
over
you?
to the car and tapped on the window, only to get no kind of response. I bent down a little to look into the car through the tinted window.
You should've. This is what I would've did. I would've stayed in my car and I would've drove next to the driver's seat, steering wheel seat, and I would've looked. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm driving. I would look right to the passenger seat window, and if I saw or I didn't saw, I'm still driving off. You just curious. Curious people get. Oh my God, they get a whole bunch.
No, there didn't seem to be anyone sitting inside. I did the same thing for all three other seats and could confirm there wasn't anyone in the car. So I looked out into the cool, dark desert that the road ran through, though I couldn't see any further than maybe 20 yards in front of me. I was feeling especially hopeful this night for some reason, so I went back to my truck and got a flashlight from the toolbox that sat underneath the passenger seat. It was a heavy-duty tactical flashlight that was so bright it would hurt your eyes to look directly at it. As soon as I turned it on, it revealed what appeared to be an abandoned gas station on the side of the road. Apparently I hadn't noticed it before. I guess the reason I didn't realize it before was because the whole fill-up or parking area was basically dirt. There wasn't any concrete. There were also only 2 gas pumps. Behind them was a small building, probably an old quick-stop store at one point. It would make the most sense that whoever's car was over there would be in that building. I went to the front door, which was permanently jammed open, and the flashlight lit up a decent portion of the room inside. It was what I thought, a big convenience store you'd find at many gas stations, or at least it used to be. It was no wonder it didn't last on a road like this, though. I called out to let anybody know of my presence, and that I was there to help. There was the slightest bit of echo in the room, which gave me chills for some reason. Then I heard something, probably a shoe, scrape against the floor on the opposite side of the room, behind a few shelves that were probably once filled with snack items and drinks. I called out once again, offering my help if it was needed. Then I heard a deep, heavy whisper saying, "Get out." I understood what was said immediately, but I didn't understand why whoever said it would say that. I was also hearing heavy breathing in one corner of the room. It was enough but what was said immediately, but I didn't understand why whoever said it needed. Then I heard a deep, heavy whisper saying, "Get out." I understood what was said immediately, but I didn't understand why whoever said it would say that.
Get out.
I was also hearing heavy breathing in one corner of the room. It was enough to make me get the hell out of there in a hurry. On my walk back to my truck, this is what I heard. And there had to be at least 5 seconds of confusion. I didn't know if what I was hearing was real or not, if that even makes sense. I ran to my truck and called 911 because, to be honest, I was too scared to go back in that building. They asked me
I
for
would
an
have went
exact
back in
location,
there.
and I
Side
couldn't tell them.
no.
All I could say was that I was by an abandoned gas station on some
That
hell
scream.
out of there in a hurry. On my walk back to my truck, this is what I heard. And there had to be at least 5 seconds of confusion. I didn't know if what I was hearing was real or not, if that even makes sense.
That's real. No, that's not
I
wrong
ran
with
to my
you?
truck and called 911 because, to be honest, I was too scared to go back in that building. They asked
I
for an
don't even
exact
want to know
location,
what's it
and I
real or
couldn't tell
fake.
them. All I could say was that I was by an abandoned gas station on some road in the desert. They asked me to stay on the line so I could describe my location better. But suddenly, the car in front of me turned on and started speeding down the desert road. I didn't even notice him get into his car. It was so dark and I was so distracted by the phone call. I ran back into the building to see if anybody was still in there, while of course keeping 911 on the line. I went to the back section where I'd heard the voice and breathing, and I was mortified to see a fresh pool of blood on the floor. I could only imagine what had happened. I explained into the phone that I believed I'd just stumbled into a crime scene. Eventually, they were able to send a bunch of state troopers to the scene. They asked me for any information I could give, license plate number, what the suspect looked like, what I thought happened. All I said was it was a black Chevy Impala, early 2000s, and I heard a man tell me to get out before hearing a woman screaming as I left the building. There was no body left behind, but I had a few ideas of what might have happened. I'm sure the state police took some blood samples and whatnot, but I wasn't able to be of much more assistance. Shamefully, I did not have a dash cam at that point to get the license plate number, but literally the next week, I installed the dash cam into my assigned truck. This was just one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences that will always haunt me.
Bro. Oh my god. So he literally just killed a lady in a freaking bandit what the? Yo guys. I don't even want to talk about I'm scared. I'm be scared when I make episode 8 of Xenokai. I'll make 10. Today's gonna be Dragon Ball Z Xenokai Marathon. Gonna be a marathon. And the noodles was good. I like chicken flavor. I don't like the white chicken. I don't like that one. The only flavors I like is just the blue ones and the chicken ones and what else? And I like one more. Beef, yeah, beef and roast beef. That's the only one I like. I like roast beef. I like chicken, blue ones. The blue, they ain't blue noodle like the blue pack color. I forgot what they call it. So I like the blue pack, chicken, the roast chicken. I like that. I like the soup juice of it. That's the only thing I like about it. Then I just like roast beef one. Then beef. So guys, it's episode 8, 9, 10, and then season 2 Xenokai is today. Get those Dragon Balls! Win those Dragon Balls!